Good evening, everybody. Finally, the weather is a bit better, and finally, my £400 Corsa C track car is back. It's been about a month since we last worked on the car. So let me give you a quick recap and bring you right up to date. 6 months ago, I picked up this Vauxhall Corsa C for £400 with the intent of making it into a track car. And since then, the car has seen quite a transformation. Like, to start with, we took the interior out of the car, and there's literally just a dash and the center console left at the moment. And then, because of the way this series works, you guys wanted me to put a new exhaust on the car, but I went for an exhaust manifold instead, which is this gorgeous 4-to-1 exhaust manifold. Then it was time to get a seat back in the car, or at least part of it, because in the first of 2 videos we put a bucket seat subframe and then the brackets in for it as well. And then in the second video we put the bucket seat itself into the car and it looked amazing. Still to this day I am in love with this bucket seat. And then after that it was time for another OMP part. We went for an OMP steering wheel and it was beginning to look more and more like a track car. Finally then, in the most recent video, we tried to put a short shifter kit in the Corsa and we failed horrendously at that. I'll explain a little bit more later in this video, but because of the way this series works, get in the comments and whatever has the most likes at the end of this video is what I'll do in one of the upcoming videos. But now that's the recap over, let's see what we're doing this week. Now I do plan on fixing that gear linkage issue, but first I've got this green performance air filter to put on the car, as this was the most liked comment from a video in about mid-January. I haven't been able to find one until now. So let's get it on the car, because this has been literally about 2 months in the making. I'm so glad I found one because there's like none of them on the market. This was pot luck. But because of that gearbox issue, the car is currently stuck in the garage. I can't really move it out because to get it back in, it's got to go up this, which is like a little bit of a hill and then a step. And have you seen me, mate? I'm literally skin and bone. I've got no muscle. I can't push the car up that. I've tried it before. I have to start the car to do so and drive it in. So we're gonna have to do it inside the garage where it's gonna be a little bit dark, unfortunately, but I'll set up as many lights as possible and try and make it look as good as possible. But before we do that, let's give you a little before sound and then we'll give you an after. I haven't started this car, I don't think since about January either. So it's been sat there for about 2 months not running. So this is going to be an interesting start. So this is going to be roughly what the lighting is. I'll set up a light down here so you can see what I'm doing. But yeah, it's not perfect, but it will have to do. I wish we could get the car outside and do it out there in the sun, but we can't, unfortunately. But one thing that you guys were sort of slating me for in the comments was jump starting my Corsa with my BMW. I've got a jump starter right here, so we can jump start the Corsa, and then I can show you what it sounds like before and then after, once we fit this air filter. Let's do this. What the hell? Why was the horn like that? Okay, we've just disconnected the horn on the steering wheel. It's not going off. Let's start the car. Well, she goes. It's been a while, but she goes. She sounds as smooth as ever, which is good. Let's hear her from the back. Yeah, she sounds smooth. Let's fill her up with the fuel first. 10 litres of fuel that I bought quite a while ago, actually. Probably, it was back in January. Get this in the car. There we go, 10 litres of petrol put back in the car. I think what we'll do is let her warm up, give her a few revs. Right then, let's give it a few revs. That doesn't sound bad at all. So let's get this changed and see if it sounds any better. So unfortunately my good wireless mics have just died, but that's okay. We can go on to the wired mic, which doesn't sound as good. But let's get this airbox off. So first up, we're going to disconnect this hose clamp, which is connecting the airbox to the intake pipe. Now, due to the age of the car, I had to be careful not to snap anything in case it had rusted too much. There we go, that's that disconnected. Next, we need to just pull this line out over here, like so. There we go. The next thing we're going to do actually is take the top of the airbox off, because I want to be able to see what we need to take off without this being in the way. So I've disconnected 3 of the bolts, not all 4 because I haven't actually been able to, as they're really rusty. But this was just held on by these two clips at the back here, and we've actually been able to take this out nice and easy, where we can now put the new one back in. Anyway, here's the exciting part. This is our brand new air filter. It looks wicked. It looks so nice. I've only ever used Ram Air before, but today we're using green performance filters, and that is going to look wicked. This also comes with a sticker, which if you've been watching this series, you know exactly what that means. There we go, that looks sick. So the first thing we're gonna do, swap out this old hose clamp for this new one, which is quite a bit heavier, you know. I think this one's quite heavy duty, so that's quite nice. Now we're gonna try and get this air filter over the stock intake pipe, just like so, and then we should be able to get this hose clamp over both, and we should be able to do it up. I had to completely undo the hose clamp just to get it over the air filter. Just keep that in mind if you decide to do this yourself. So that's the air filter in place. Now there's a bracket that we need to put onto it. This one just here, which will go on the end like this. And then this will bolt up into, I think, this bolt just down here, which holds, I don't really know what that holds on, but I think it bolts into there. I never figured out what this bolt was actually doing in the end. It kind of just went through the frame and went to nothing. But it was a 13mm head, so I took it off, put the bracket through and bolted it on, and it was solid as anything. There we go, that is the air filter installed. So we've got it clamped to the frame of the car here. It is really in there, that's barely moving. And then we've also got it attached to one of this bracket. It's top of the air filter with a lock nut. All we need to do now, I think, is just zip tie this up so that it's not just loose and flinging around, and then I believe we are done. There we go. Now I don't think I've got anything to cut that with, unfortunately, so that's just gonna have to stay flinging around like that for now. But that is the new air filter. That looks really nice. Yeah, I like that. That looks good. So obviously we've got the performance exhaust manifold, the performance air filter. Is this engine gonna sound really nice now? Obviously the exhaust at the back does, but is the intake sound gonna sound good? I don't know, because when standing still like this, intake noise is not massively loud, but when driving it is. Let's start the car and see what it sounds like. The engine should be warm already because I only started it about 20 minutes ago and had it running up to temperature. So let's give it a few revs and hopefully this air filter has made a difference. So I don't know if the microphone can pick that up, but I am convinced that sounds better. There's more of a trum each time now. It sounds sick. Each time I do a modification like this, it just makes me want to get this car back on the road more and more. But we've got some stuff to do if we want to do that. And it's very expensive to do that too. That is enough. That sounds really good. I'm really happy with that air filter. So glad I finally found one. That's 2 performance air filters installed in both of my cars now in the last few weeks. I love an air filter and I'm actually really happy with this one, and it's the first one I've ever had that's like this. I've only ever had foam air filters from Ram Air before, and this one from Green Performance is really nice. I'll leave links to Green Performance down below. This is not a sponsored thing. I'm just going to do it because that's a pretty damn good air filter. Oh man, I just want to drive this car. I want to drive it, but we've got to fix this gearbox issue or the linkage thing next. And then we've got to get some racing harnesses in the car. But to do that, we first are going to have to get maybe a roll cage or some sort of cage in the car or something that can hold a harness. But as this is a series controlled by you guys, get in the comments, what should we do next to the Corsa? Please be reasonable though, like I have not got an unlimited budget, so I can't be spending loads of money. I know that we need a roll cage and harnesses, which are so expensive, but I just don't have the money for it right now. I have recently though got a welder, so maybe we try and weld up our own roll cage, but I guarantee it's not going to be very good. I'm a terrible welder. So yeah, get in the comments. The one with the most likes is what we'll do in the next video, or one of the next videos on the Corsa. But yeah, I love that air filter. It looks good, it sounds good. Now we've got to try and figure out this gearbox problem. Hello again, it has now been 2 days and it's time that we sort out this gear shifter issue. Now last time we got the new short shifter in the car, we connected up the majority of it, but not all of it, because we can't get the pin on the gearbox to lock in. And then, well, once we get that to lock in, we can then get the gear shifter locked in place and we can then tighten it all up. But because we can't get that pin in the gearbox, we can't get this all together at the moment. I'm not really explaining it very well, but I'll show you what I mean. So my gearbox has that pin just there. You see that little thing with the yellow head? That's the pin I'm on about, and that has got to be pressed in when that fork just there is in the correct position. That then locks the gearbox into the correct place, and then we can do this to the shifter. If we move the shifter over, you can see that little hole, that will line up just ever so slightly like this, and then we can put a 5mm drill through, and then the gearbox and the gear shifter are then aligned, which then means we can tighten everything up, and then the gearbox and the gear shifter will be correct and we'll be able to get every single gear. But right now it is not connected, so I can't drive the car and it's stuck in the garage. So the first line of attack is try and get that pin in the gearbox in the correct place. Now you guys did leave a load of comments and I'm going to go through all of them whilst I try and do this to see if what you guys say does help. I hope it does, and I hope we can get this, because if not, I have got an idea of how we could do this. Now, one of the comments that you guys left was to make sure that the pin is released. Now, I didn't try that, and I don't think there is a way that it does release. I believe the position it's in is the position it's meant to be in. So I went through all your guys' comments and ideas. I tried all of them and nothing seemed to work. So I decided to call up a Vauxhall garage to see if they've got any tips. They sort of just said put a bit of WD-40 on it and see if that works, but nothing worked. But I did have one idea left. Yeah, I can't get this to go in. I have absolutely no clue why. The pin is loose. The pin's not seized. I can spin the pin, look. So it's clearly loose. I just can't find the position for it. And look, if I move the shift fork all the way to the left, you can't see, but it's all the way to the left. This pin doesn't go in, and it's meant to. And there is nowhere that it will go into that I can feel. It's not wanting to bite on a single thing. Now, my idea was to put the gearbox into second and then try and line up the gear stick where I think second would be and tighten everything up. Here's how it went. So I've just pushed it into what I think could be second. Now what I need to do is go put the gear stick into where I believe second is, and then get underneath the car and tighten everything up. And by everything, I literally just mean the clamp that holds the shift fork to the shift mechanism, which was a T50 from underneath and then a 13mm nut on top. There, we're all tight now down here. The gear stick's where second is. I hope the gearbox is in second, because if so, this should work now. Here we go then. First, second, third, fourth, first, second, that's quite loose, third, fourth, fifth, I don't really. Oh no. Oh, I don't know. It doesn't feel good whatsoever. Do you guys have any idea as to why maybe the car is being like this? It's definitely worked here because it's no longer in a gear, but I don't know. It doesn't feel right at all. It's really stiff. And the gear changes just doesn't feel right whatsoever. So that has popped off, which might be one of the reasons why it feels weird. And I know why. You guys said about those clips. I need to put them on, and I will. I can pop that back on and get those clips on, and then hopefully that shouldn't come off. Maybe that's what the issue is. I don't know, but I can get each gear. It just doesn't feel right at all. I think we're going to have to leave it there for now this week with my track car. This air filter looks amazing. It looks a little bit more racy in this engine bay now with the green performance air filter, that 4:1 header. It looks quite cool. Obviously this is only like a 90 horsepower engine, so it's not going to be anything special, but we're going to have loads of fun in it when we eventually get it to a track day. But get in the comments then, as usual, what should we do next to my Corsa? I think I do have a plan with a roll cage, but it is going to take a bit of time. Give me any ideas. It's not a roll cage, not a harness, and not a bloody turbo kit, 'cause I can't afford one. And there's no point in doing it. I might as well just get a new engine or a different car if I'm going to do that. And the one with the most likes is obviously what we'll do in one of the upcoming videos. A few ideas could possibly be maybe like a strut bar across the engine bay, or a strut bar for the rear shocks. Coilovers, maybe new wheels. That one's a little bit boring actually, because I can't really make a video around just brand new wheels. It doesn't have to be track related, like the headlights have changed to these halo ones. And I've just realised I'm recording all of this without even using my mic, so the mic quality is going to be poor right now, but it's alright. But thank you for watching. It's another thing done to my Corsa. We're getting closer and closer each week to possibly getting it on track, but actually it feels like we're going backwards at the moment because we can't sort out this blooming shifter issue. But I'll see you guys next week on Sunday for a customary video as per. I will see you then. Have a great week. Peace out.